Hello, welcome back. This is kind of a continuation of the last video I did. If you haven't been watching this series, in this series I'm doing basic. I did a basic twist already. I did a basic braid. I've already done, taken the basic braid and modified it with vertical breaks. Today we're going to take the basic braid and we're going to modify it using the horizontal breaks. If you haven't seen the one for the basic braid or the twist, you might want to go back. If you're not familiar with doing this kind of stuff, you might want to go back and watch specifically this one first, because this is the one we're working off of for today's design. Okay, so we're building off of this braid. Okay, and what we're going to end up with is something like this today. Okay, with the horizontal breaks. We did the vertical breaks the last time in the last video. Today we're doing the horizontal breaks. Okay. All right, let's get started. Am I in frame? Yes, I am. All right. We are starting this the same way that we did with the video with the vertical breaks. We're just doing a braid. We're going to do the grid work the same way as we did with the basic braid. And we start off with a 2 by 9. That's just because that's what fits on my paper. 2 by 9 grid. I didn't draw the lines in, I just marked the intersections, and that's where my circles are going to go. Okay? All right, so let's get started. We're just putting circles. If you want thin lines, you make bigger circles. If you like your lines thick, you'll keep them small. Just keep the circles about the same size. And then it doesn't have to be neat, just relatively the same size. These are guidelines. This whole thing will be erased when you're doing your final. So every point of intersection is going to have a circle. Then we go into the center of each box and we put the same size circle. Okay, and I'm going to do the exact same thing we did with the braid. We're going to pick a point. You can pick any point, but once you pick a point, you stick with it. You don't move around. You work right off of that point. You need 4 circles. You draw a set of parallel lines inside the edges of those 4 circles, just like that. That's a set of parallel lines right there. Because we need a weave, we need to draw a second set of parallel lines perpendicular to that first line. This is a line now. This is going to be a thread. Think of it as a thread. All right. And we're alternating. So anywhere there's a line goes this way, whatever comes off of it has to go perpendicular. Right? And you can see that the thread is there. And we're just going to do this all the way across. I'm not going to be particularly worried about it being neat and tidy because you trace the lines, you erase stuff you don't want later. Just don't get too crazy. Try and keep it some kind of organized and neat. I've been doing this so much now that I'm like, okay, I can almost do this in my sleep now. which it can, can work against you, because your mind can start wandering and you're not paying attention, and the next thing you know, like, oh wow, why did I do that? I drew lines in the wrong places. So pay attention when you're doing stuff. All right, there we go. We got our basic weave pattern. Our lines are there. If all you did at this point was make your loops at the top, bottom, and on the ends, you'd have a braid. You would have that. Okay, but we're going to take it a step further, and we are going to add in horizontal breaks, okay, to give it a slightly different pattern. You can draw these breaks in before you do this. These parallel lines, it gets confusing. So unless you're really, really adept at it, and your mind is with it that day, you might just want to do it this way, and then just add in the lines, add in the breaks, so that you're not twisting your brain all over the place. All right, so where I put these breaks was, I started on the interconnecting, yeah, I can't English right now. All right, you get it. It's the second, would be the second line in. And then we're going to go, we're going to spread that across 2 columns. And then we're going to do the same thing from the opposite end on the other side. So this is our start point, 1 and 2. All right. I'm drawing this dark. You don't necessarily want to draw it dark, because the darker it is, the harder it is to erase, and this is something that will be erased. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Now, like I said in the video where I did the verticals, when you see a line, when you create a break like this, it means that your threads that would normally go this way, can't. Okay? Any line that was supposed to go this way is gonna hit this wall and bounce off, or like at a 90-degree angle. So this is gonna have to go this way, if that makes sense. So we're just gonna go in, and anywhere like right above and right below the line, we're just gonna do an eraser mark. Don't go crazy and start erasing, just right above and below these lines. Okay? And that's going to help. It's a nifty little brush, isn't it? If you draw a lot, you should have a brush like this. I think this is like a horsehair brush. It helps you kind of, because you really shouldn't use your hand. You're like using the oils in your hand. Spread your, will smudge the lead. Anywho, let's get back to business here. Okay, so again, before I move on to anything else, I'm going to deal with these breaks. This line was supposed to go this way. It can't. It's going to turn, and it's going to go that way. So we're just going to draw that in, draw that curve. Okay, now there was another loop that also was supposed to cross. It can't. That's going to turn. And then the same thing underneath of it. This line was going to go that way. It can't. It's got to turn at a 90-degree angle and go the opposite way. This thread can't go that way. It's going to turn and it's going to go that way. Okay, erase these lines here because they're not necessary. And we're going to go over to the second line, and we're just going to do the same thing there. We have this thread that can't continue. It's going to turn 90 degrees and go that way. This thread, same thing. It needs to turn and go that way. This thread needs to turn. Then we have this thread here that would have gone that way. It needs to turn. Okay? All right, so I think we got that situated. Now we're just going to go back, and everything else at this point, from this point on, is just doing the same thing we would have done if this was a basic braid. Everything else is just adding in the top and bottom loops. I'm being a little sloppy this morning, I noticed. This is my second video this morning. I think maybe that's why, and I haven't had a lot of coffee. You can be a little neater if you do, when you're doing this. But again, at this point, you're not, this isn't your final drawing. This is still your rough. And just like with any other drawing, you're going to go over certain things. Clean them up, darken them up, add in shading. Something tells me I did something wrong here. Did I? No, I didn't. Okay. Yeah, I kind of did. All right. Something's wrong with this one. Not enough coffee. There we go. There we go. Now it works. Okay. And you just erase the lines that don't need to be there anymore. Okay, so we have the tops and the bottoms. And now we're just going to do the ends. And I think today I'm just going to, just for this one, because I haven't had a lot of coffee yet and I'm starting to get a little weird. I'm just going to do a basic boxy kind of thing. The upside to doing this stuff first thing in the morning is there's like nobody awake to bother me. The downside is coffee hasn't kicked in yet. Sometimes the brain cells just don't work well. So you get the idea. We'll go over this with, let's see, I have a 6B. I'll do a 6B pencil. So we'll go over this so you can kind of see this knot. a little bit better. Okay, and that's basically a simple horizontal, simple horizontal border knot. You can get really, really complicated and do all kinds of stuff. Add in different kinds of breaks, mix them together. And this is just one method. There are other methods out there. This is just one. There are different ways of, different techniques of teaching, different techniques of constructing knots and stuff like that. But I thought that I'd just do a short series. I'm not sure how long the series is going to be, but I figure I'm going to start. I already did a couple of like shield knots, where I took a basic one and just made a basic shield knot, and then I modified it to make the 4 hearts. That's a really cool one. If you haven't seen that, you should go back and watch that. And then in this short series, I just took a basic twist, a basic braid with vertical breaks, and then today, basic braid with horizontal. Not sure what I'm going to do next. I got to give it a little bit of a think. I'm thinking I'm either going to do circular knots or I'm going to do corner knots. Not sure which one I'm going to do just yet. It might be a couple of weeks because I got so many other projects going on right now. But I'm going to continue doing stuff like this sporadically, and in between a lot of the other projects that I'm trying to get done. I have so much, so much on my plate right now. I'm really stressed. It's all stuff I want to do, most of it, but you know, there's not enough hours in a day. There just isn't. There's not enough hours in a day. So, you know, you can take this and you can make it look a little more 3D by adding in some shading. And when you're doing these, do it a little more careful than I did. Like I'm noticing spots where I didn't connect the lines properly, and make sure that your threads, the lines of your threads, the edges, make sure that they line up with each other, even if you have to do like a draw through, just to kind of make it look like it's more more realistic. And make sure that your lines all meet each other. Like there's a gap there. You don't really want to have gaps in between your lines. This is a little bit on the sloppy side because, well, it's too early in the morning and I haven't had a lot of coffee. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. But anyway, so you can see where that's going. I'll show you my finished one. That's a finished finish. You can stylize the end loops if you like. You can do any number of things to the inside or the background of this knot. But there it is. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Share it. It gets the word out there. Subscribe. I do a lot more than just knots on this channel. I do faux floral designs and sort of DIY projects and a variety of stuff on this channel. So if you like this kind of artsy, craftsy, creative kind of stuff, subscribe. There's a lot more ideas I have coming. You can go to my website and see everything that I have for sale. I have wooden fairy houses that are handcrafted, faux floral designs, candle holders, handcrafted candle holders with faux floral designs. I have Celtic wood burning art that does this kind of stuff with a little bit more elaborate designs on wood plaques and plates. And there's a blog there if I haven't mentioned that already. So there's a lot going on my website, so you can take a look. You can follow me on social media. I post a lot of updates on social media as well. Okay, so hopefully you're staying cool where you are. And yeah, that's it. I'm not going to keep rambling. I got to go get some coffee and some breakfast. But have a great day. Thank you for watching. And let me know in the comments if there's anything that you are not clear about, anything that you'd like me to do next. And have a great day, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.